Since the Season 7 patch notes for the Chinese version of Call of Duty Mobile was released a few days early, there is a lot of misinformation in the community right now as to what actually got buffed and what actually got nerfed in the global version of the game. In today's video, I'm going to be clearing the air, telling you exactly what got buffed and what got nerfed, with specific stats researched by myself from Season 6 and Season 7 to show you exactly what changed. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. Starting off the nerfs, we have two nerfs to the Fennec, which was definitely the best close-range weapon at the end of Season 5 and of course Season 6. Now the first nerf that the Fennec is receiving is decreased damage at range with no attachments. And when I say no attachments, that just means that you'll have less damage at range no matter what gunsmith build you're using. So just overall, you're going to have less damage at range than you did in Season 6. Now for example, in Season 6, you would have a 4-shot kill in the chest and above up to 16 meters with no attachments. In Season 7, it's only going to be up to 13 meters that you're going to be able to get that 4-shot kill in the chest and above. The second nerf that the Fennec received was decreased damage multiplier to the limbs with no attachments. Now, if we stick to the previous example, from 0 to 13 meters, the Fennec would be dealing 20 damage per shot in the limbs. So that means in the arms, the legs, and the groin. However, in Season 7, it's going to be dealing 18 damage to the arms, the legs, and the groin. It actually makes a big difference because 20 damage per shot means it's going to be a 5-shot kill. Anything under that, so 18, is going to be a 6-shot kill. So that significantly decreases your time to kill if your shots are not precisely center mass, and that's pretty hard to do with the Fennec because it has pretty hard to control recoil. The next weapon that got nerfed was the Shorty Secondary. So this actually received 3 nerfs, all dealing with damage at range and just trying to make it less of a 1-shot kill as easily as it was in Season 6. So the first nerf was literally decreased damage at range. Now it's not going to be as easy to hit a 1-shot kill at range just because the damage multipliers drop off pretty quickly. Secondly, the ADS bullet spread was increased, and this is not to be confused with ADS bullet spread accuracy, because that would just make it more accurate. This is basically saying it's less accurate. So you're going to be needing more shots in order to get that kill, and most likely you won't be able to get as many 1-shots as you did in Season 6. Lastly, the Shorty received a nerf for decreased damage at range, specifically for the Marauder Suppressor, which was actually the attachment that gave it the most increased damage at range. So in Season 6, it gave you plus 25% to your damage at range. In Season 6, however, it's only plus 18% to your damage at range. The next weapon that got nerfed was the AS-VAL, or the ASVAL, as my fellow Tripmine user Noah would say. This weapon only received a nerf to a specific attachment, which was the Large Extended Mag B. So in Season 6, the downside to using this was minus 1% to the movement speed and plus 3% to the reload speed. In Season 7, it's going to be minus 2% to the movement speed and plus 6% to the reload speed. So decreased movement speed and decreased reload speed. Not that big of a difference, to be honest though. The next weapon that got nerfed was the Holger 26. This received a bunch of nerfs and very much needed because this was very OP in the last season. And actually it received a few buffs as well, which I'll talk about later. But the first nerf it received was decreased movement speed. So this just means it's going to be slower to run around with. Definitely run lightweight if you do not already. The second thing they got nerfed was decreased damage at range with no attachments. So in Season 6, the Holger was a 4-shot kill anywhere on the body from 17 to 25 meters. In Season 7, it's going to be a 4-shot kill anywhere on the body from 17 to 21 meters. So they're basically limiting the mid-range damages for this weapon. The last 4 nerfs for the Holger are attachment based, and they're attachments that were previously used to increase mobility. So the first one is going to be the no stock attachment. In Season 6, it gave you minus 10% to your ADS time and plus 4% to your movement speed. In Season 7, however, it's going to give you only minus 7% to your ADS time, so slower ADS time, and only plus 3% to your movement speed, so slower movement speed. The next attachment that got nerfed for the Holger was the MIP Light Barrel Short. In Season 6, it gave you minus 8% to your ADS time and plus 4% to your movement speed. In Season 7, it only gives you minus 5% to your ADS time and plus 3% to your movement speed, so very similar to the no stock. The next attachment that got nerfed for the Holger was the MIP Light Barrel. So this only got 1 nerf for ADS time. In Season 6, it gave you minus 12% to your ADS time. In Season 7, it only gives you minus 9% to your ADS time, so slower ADS time using this attachment. And the last attachment and thing to get nerfed for the Holger is the YKM Combat Stock. In Season 6, it gave you minus 15% to your ADS time. Now in Season 7, it only gives you minus 12% to your ADS time. So again, slower ADS time. They're trying to make the Holger not as good as it used to be for damages in those mid-ranges and just mobility overall. Really quickly, before we get into the buffs, if you are enjoying the video, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like. Just helps push the video out to more people because I feel like a lot of people are misinformed about the Season 7 update. But I'll shut up now. Let's get into the buffs. The first buff we'll be covering is to the Fennec. So the Fennec got one buff for increased damage multipliers on the abdomen with no attachments. So for example, in Season 6, it dealt 23 damage to the abdomen in its first kill range. In Season 7, it deals 24 damage to the abdomen in its first kill range, which literally doesn't change anything. It doesn't increase the time to kill. It's still going to be a 5-shot kill just because you need 5 shots to kill with both 23 damage and 24 damage. And if you're confused as to why the Fennec would even get buffed because it was so broken last season, it's because they're basically balancing it like the QXR. So if you remember in Season 5 when the QXR got nerfed, did the same thing as they're doing to the Fennec. They decreased the damage at range, but they also increased a body part damage multiplier, which literally doesn't do anything, but it's just there. The next weapon that got buffed was the Type 25, and it's specific for the RTC steady stock attachment. So in Season 6, this attachment gave you minus 8% to your hit flinch and minus 6.4% to your horizontal recoil. In Season 7, it gives you minus 20% to your hit flinch and minus 10% to your horizontal recoil. So a pretty big buff for this attachment, and I honestly might use it if I ever make a build for this gun. Moving on over to the weapon that got the most buffs in this Season 7 update, the LK24. The first buff that the LK24 received is for increased damage multiplier on the chest with no attachments. So in Season 6, in the first kill range, you would be getting a 4-shot kill, so 26 damage anywhere on the body except the head, where it'd be 31. Now in Season 7, it gives you 28 damage to the chest, and then of course everywhere else 26, and the head 31. So only the chest increases by 28, and I've actually tested this out at every single range, and it does not improve your time to kill at all. It will never give you a 4-shot kill instead of a 5-shot kill or something like that. So this is pretty much useless unless they're weak. This is the only time it'll count. They also buffed the LK24 for slightly lowering the horizontal recoil with no attachments, so it just makes it easier to control. Another buff that the LK24 received is for increasing the hipfire accuracy with no attachments. I mean, I still wouldn't use this at close range, but it's nice to know that they increased the hipfire accuracy. The last 4 buffs for the LK24 are attachment based, and they're actually all 4 of its stocks. The first stock that got buffed was the MIP strike stock. So in Season 6, it gave minus 6.6% to the ADS bullet spread and minus 6.7% to the horizontal recoil. In Season 7, it gives minus 9% to the ADS bullet spread. And just keep in mind, ADS bullet spread is the exact opposite of ADS bullet spread accuracy. You actually want as high of a number as possible to be reduced here, because the higher in reduction your spread is, the more accurate your shot is going to be. And minus 9% to the horizontal recoil. The next stock that got buffed on the LK24 was the no stock. So in Season 6, it gave you plus 9.6% to your ADS bullet spread. In Season 7, it gives you plus 8% to your ADS bullet spread. Next up, the LK24's YKM light stock got a buff for ADS bullet spread. So in Season 6, it was plus 8.4% to the ADS bullet spread. In Season 7, it is plus 6% to the ADS bullet spread. And the last buff the LK24 received is to the YKM combat stock. In Season 6, it was plus 10% to the ADS bullet spread. In Season 7, it was reduced to 8% to the ADS bullet spread. Now, if you're looking for a gunsmith for the buffed LK24, I probably will have a video coming tomorrow on the stats and the gunsmith for it, so subscribe for new. Let's get right into the next buff. The next weapon that was buffed was the RUS-79U, and it increased the damage multiplier on the chest with no attachments. So for example, in Season 6, at 10 meters, the RUS dealt 24 damage to the chest. Now in Season 7, it deals 26 damage to the chest, making it a 4-shot kill in the chest rather than a 5-shot kill. The last weapon to be buffed in the Season 7 update is the Holger 26, and it's for mobility for attachments. So the first attachment to be buffed is the 26K double stack carbine mag. In Season 6, it reduced the ADS time by 23% and added no movement speed boost. However, in the Season 7 update, it reduces the ADS time by 28% and increases the movement speed by 1%. And finally, the last attachment to be buffed for the Holger 26 is the lightweight polymer mag. In Season 6, it reduced the ADS time by 25%, increased the movement speed by 3%, and decreased the reload speed by 20%. But in Season 7, it reduces the ADS time by 30%, increases the movement speed by 5%, and it reduces the reload speed by 25%. Now, the takeaway here is the Holger should not be used like an LMG with a 100-round mag like a lot of people used in Season 6. It should only really be used like an AR. And I've already made a gunsmith for that, so there should be a video in the top right of your screen. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. But that's gonna go ahead and do it for the video. Hope you did enjoy. Now, before you leave, I just want to quickly comment on the mix-up of patch notes from Season 7 in the Chinese server. I feel like a lot of those patch notes will be coming out in Season 8 for the anniversary season, and there are a lot of good changes there that will most likely change the meta, and I feel like the developers of COD Mobile are just saving that for season 8, trying to hype it up to be a really good season because the anniversary season has to be really hyped up. So I feel like season 7 is just kind of like a filler season, hyping this up for season 8. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. As always, drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.